Hey everybody, welcome back to It's Not Work, It's Fun. As you can see, this is a much different setup here. We're in the process of a change, and also we're just going to be doing a lot of different things here as time gets going. One of the things that we want to do is really get a handle on a much bigger studio. This is temporary settings. We will be bringing you full studio settings. And also, we want you to like us on Facebook. I'm Master Gardener Bernie Delaney. Not only like us on Facebook, but you can follow us on Twitter now too, because we've got that all set up. And there's a lot of pictures that people have sent in that some of which we'll use, some of which we won't use. Also, we'll be showing some of the old episodes, about 5-minute episodes, from our way old videos, way old this, that, and the other. On Facebook, they'll only be tiny episodes between 2 and 5 minutes. But we'll be bringing that to you, and that is something that you can look forward to. Plus, you can watch these brand new episodes by tuning in to not only YouTube through Wausau City Hall, but also channel 980 and 81, channel 980, 980, and 981 on Saturday mornings for both It's Not Work, It's Fun and Bobby Butts for Life. Now, one of the sponsors that will be bringing you videos on will be Periwinkles, okay? That we don't have the setup that we used to have because we're changing everything around. Everything has been moved around, and we're doing different things. We'll be doing some live television broadcasts too from a couple of area businesses coming up over the holiday season. So watch for that, and that'll actually be advertised in some of the businesses that we already work with. Again, I'm Master Gardener Bernie Delaney, and one of the things I want to bring you is one of the things you can do. A lot of people say, you know, I'm not quite ready to pick my tomatoes yet. Yeah, it's getting cold outside. Let's see if we can get a shot of this. This is a moss rose here. Let's see if we can get a shot of this. I've got a green pepper here, which I'm going to pick after a little while. I can take these inside, and a lot of people say, well, I take them inside and they don't do very well, okay? One of the things I'm waiting for is to have these moss rose or portulaca, and it's a Peruvian flower, by the way. One of the things I'm waiting for is to get, I don't know, we don't have a monitor set up today, so I can't quite see what you're seeing, but I want to get some of the seeds from this particular plant. This is called, as I said before, some people call them moss rose. They actually grow on top of moss that's growing in your ground. That's also an acidic soil too. They grow pretty well in non-acidic soils. It doesn't have to be acidic soil. But these are pretty little flowers. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to make sure if I take them inside, if I decide to take them inside, here's something that, whatever it was, died off. I don't need to keep that. I can cut that off. I can take all of that out of there. Do I want to keep my let's see if we can get a shot of this right down here. Maybe we can do this, okay. One of the things you can do is put it underneath bright lights in a nice warm room. Now, am I going to take everything and do that? No, because I don't have all the room. One of the things you can do, though, is take your smaller pots, and even smaller than this. This is a 6-inch diameter pot right here. This is, let me hold this one up a little bit. And of course I got a bigger hanging one. This is a 6-inch diameter pot. I don't even know what it says on here because I use all of my old pots. I tend to reuse them and reuse them and reuse them. It doesn't matter what was in here from before. I want to check this pot over, okay? And I want to make sure there's nothing crawling out of here. The only thing that I see, okay, you want to check the bottom side. The only thing I see is a little bit of root coming out of the bottom here. I'm going to take that off just like this. I'm going to take part of that off. All right. I want to check to make sure there's nothing crawling out of there. There is. There's no slugs, there's no snails on here. Let me see if I can hold this plant in here. The other one is a tomato plant. Okay, which I grew all of this stuff. Folks, I repeated this once. I gotta repeat this again. The big faith community church gardens that we did so many episodes from, standing in the fields from planting to harvest, that completely ended. That was the one out on Town Line Roads. St. Michael's was another one. There was a couple of Lutheran churches. St. Peter's, I believe, was one. There was 8 big churches the first and second year, as a matter of fact. Then the third year it went down to 6. But the owners of the land decided they weren't going to let us do that anymore. So that whole gardening program, which provided a lot of food, and I'm talking about several thousand pounds of food to the community, to the people who have trouble putting food on their table, it actually ended. And the people that gave us the land to use for the gardening program, it was completely taken away. It ended May 1st, so they never even let us get a shot at starting the gardens for 2018. We did that for, let's see, I believe it was 4 years. And the first year, it was unbelievable that what happened was I started just tons and tons and tons of vegetables for a lot of these churches, and the people came in, they volunteered, they got these gardens together. It turned out beautiful. I planted a rose bush, which is still blooming today, in memory of all the things that had been done in a new project. I worked with a fellow by the name of Bruce Olbrantz and the Olbrantz Family Foundation. Plus we worked with quite a few other people too, to really get it off and run things that we were so proud of. Is for St. Paul's United Church of Christ part, we provided that first year 1,500 pounds of food that went to area food pantries, not only all kinds of churches and their pantries, but Neighbor's Place as well. Neighbor's Place actually got about 800 pounds worth of food, and the rest was divided amongst the other pantries. And then, of course, the second year, it was even more. It was like to St. Paul's United Church of Christ alone was about 3,400 pounds. So we really did a good job. I provided a lot of started vegetables. I worked out there the first and second year a great deal with other people to really give it a big, huge push. We got it all going. And then the third year, it wasn't so much because we've had a lot of family emergencies and, life took over. But we were really proud of that. And hopefully, at some point in the near future, we can actually bring that program back. We actually have a piece of land that's ready to go. And it might not be quite as big as it was even by the fourth year, but we're planning on bringing it back. We're fighting really, really hard for that so that it can keep going, because it really helped people put food on the table. They not only would pick the food up from the area pantry, the church pantries, but they would get it at Neighbor's Place. And some people would take this food home and freeze it. And some people would can it. And there was just any number of fresh fruits and vegetables that were absolutely provided by the incredible job that we all did. And at one point, there was probably over 100 volunteers that helped get these gardens started. We provided a lot of food. And I was one of the biggest pushes behind the started fruits and vegetables behind the first couple of years. Then last year, I didn't know that the whole thing had closed down, and so I started what I could start, even though we had a lot of things go on and a lot of family emergencies, and even a wedding in the middle of the summertime. And this, the wedding that I'm referring to is one of my children got married, and I grew at least 300 flowers for the wedding. I want to show you some of the stuff here. This was one of the flower baskets right here, pointing right down here. This is one of the flower baskets. that we had them all in groups, and the photographers, we had some pretty special photographers out there. They took, let's get a shot of all of this over here. This is a tomato that got so heavy it kind of broke itself in half. This, however, is a weed. Let me show you this, folks. I didn't plant it in there, but it's gonna come out because I don't want it in there. What I'm gonna do, folks, is I'm gonna take some of these flowers out of here, and instead of letting them go to waste and freeze outside, I will take them and put them in much smaller containers. Okay, there's a big chunk of soil coming on. I'm gonna cut all that off. I don't want this. If you've ever dealt with Jimson weed, and they do grow in the ditch, they've got a medicinal smell to them. They don't do anything but get in the way. As a matter of fact, here's part of this big tomato I cracked in half. And actually a tomato was growing on it. But at any rate, what happened was it cracked. It was probably in the wind. This was a hanging basket we had up around the area that one of my kids got married in. And it was just a gorgeous day, a gorgeous wedding. And it was something that I really wanted to do. Now, some of the other weddings that I'm involved with, one of the things is the fact that it's going to be an indoor wedding in the middle of winter, and I'm going to grow flower baskets inside in containers, and they will be under lights, okay? If I grow them in the greenhouse, well, this wedding is in the middle of winter, so I'm not going to get a chance to grow it in the greenhouse because there's no heat to that greenhouse. We have remodeled a lot of stuff, and the greenhouse is one of them. It still, as of yet, has no heat, but that's all coming as a whole brand new studio for us is coming, plus many, many gardens that we are going to be involved with. And at this point, it's Fraser Family Foundation and the O'Brien's Family Foundation that'll be doing those things. Hopefully, we'll be able to pull off a lot of stuff. But I also want to say something about the folks that work with us, the businesses that work with us, like the Periwinkles folks. They volunteer with us as well. They have done a couple different things with us. They helped us with the parade last year, the Wausau Parade. And there's a couple of different folks from McDonald's who have helped us too. And it's just really, really cool to be able to work with these folks. All right, so I got the Jimson weed. Let's get a shot of this here. By the way, right here, I'm gonna take my trusty dusty pocket knife. As a lot of you know, I have had my Swiss Army knife for a number of years. I'm just gonna take that stuff, cut that stuff off. That doesn't need to be on there. Right here, right down here, if you can get a shot of this. And we're shooting with different equipment today because we don't have the big dogs out. We are really, really changing, I mean, definitely changing things around a great deal. And you have no idea of the things that we have been able to do. But we'll be bringing you more and more episodes with even better equipment, but not that that really makes a difference. These are Sweet Williams. They're gonna go underneath some lights. This is a hanging pot, and I may just absolutely pick this up and hang it someplace in the house. It's a heavy duty pot. By the way, let's see, if you cannot see this, maybe that's a little bit better. We'll get a nice shot of that. All right, this is a geranium. And no, folks, you don't have to let these things dry out. As a matter of fact, this one's gonna bloom again. Right here, if you can, hopefully you can see this, because I have no monitor to tell me what's going on. For today only. It's gonna be blooming, so it's got a couple different buds on it. It's got one here, it's got one over here, and it's got another one down here. And there's a little tiny geranium plant growing right down at the bottom here. If hopefully you can see this one right here. As I said, I don't have a monitor. These are the size pots that these are just 4-inch pots. And I'm gonna jam flowers from my pots during the summertime. See, they take up way less space, they fit underneath the lights just great. And I can also put seeds in there too. Now, one of the things I am waiting for with my moss rose or portulaca, my flower of Peru, is to go to seed. So I can harvest the seeds. Here's one right here. This is real hard. This is not a dead flower, it's real hard. And as soon as the top of this part right here falls off, this will just come off one day. It'll have a whole big, huge amount of seeds. They can put anywhere, they can produce anywhere. And I don't know what the color of this flower was. I've got a couple different colors here. But whatever flower that was, say if it was pink, it's gonna have anywhere from 50 to 100 seeds that I can plant. I may keep this one down here. I may keep this particular plant in this pot. This is kind of a pretty small plant, and I've got lights at home and a warm room at home that I have on timers, and they're very low wattage bulbs. I don't have any with me today because this is a temporary setup, okay? And one of the things that I like to use are 13-watt bulbs almost right on top of the plants. It gets nice and warm for them, and they're in a warm room, so when it gets cold at night and it's the middle of winter, the room itself will be warm. The lights will shut off. I'll probably have the lights shut off around 8 o'clock at night, and they'll probably turn on around, until it gets to be springtime, they'll probably turn on around 9 o'clock in the morning. And then as it gets to be springtime, I'll increase the lights from say 9 o'clock or back down to 8 o'clock, so they come on earlier. And the time that they're underneath the lights will be really a lot of time, till it gets to almost 12 hours. But I'll also use the spring sunshine too. I'll let the spring sunshine come into these pots, then the lights will turn on. And it'll be something that I've worked with for a number of years. It'll be something that I've done myself for a number of years. If you don't have I do have a greenhouse, okay? And I've said that for years now. But right now it's not heated, and we're not gonna heat it for this winter because we're just not quite that far yet. I can do this stuff all underneath the lights. When I started all those flowers for one of my children's weddings, I put them underneath the lights. And I actually have plant lights. They're called blue ultraviolet lights. And I get the cheap ones, the ones that are only pull 13 watts. If I have two 13-watters in a row here, what happens is that's only 26 watts, okay? So, as a matter of fact, the closer they are to the plant, I will take the tallest plant and I will put them right up above that. They will reach for it, but they also produce seeds. Now plants do react to the seasonal changes. They do catch on to that. But if you have them under heat and lights and the water and the circulating air and the fertilizer and the insecticide and the fungicide, all that, they kind of get the idea that they're underneath artificial lights and it's okay to grow. I have all of my African violets. I have several African violets. They're all underneath artificial lights. Not one of them is in a window. They're all underneath the lights, and they get heat that's rising from up above. They're not anywhere near heat source. They're up above so that they get the heat that's circulating in the higher half of the room. Because what happens is they don't like to have the air either warm or even medium warm blown on them. They like to get the circulating air and to have a little fan circulating in the room. And it's just one room too, folks. It's not, I don't cause a big electric bill or anything like that because I watch that stuff. I don't want to cause that. But one of the things is I really monitor that stuff. I monitor the heat, the light, the circulating air, and how much fertilizer they get. It is the middle, as a matter of fact, it is the middle of winter. It is very close to October 1st, and people are going to be celebrating Halloween, plus, it's going into the major holidays after that. And when it starts to get cold is when we're going to do some live television broadcasts. We're going to talk about aloe vera and what it does for your health by eating it and making a tea out of it. And we're gonna do it right in the businesses so that people can see us do this live. And yes, it'll be covered by some of the news media as well. So that's all coming. Our studio is coming. We had what we thought was a pretty nice setup. Well, we actually cut on to even a nicer one, folks. We're moving forward, and this is temporary, very temporary. And it's just something that, you know, we want to do for ourselves. So everybody understands that, and I'm gonna go back to these flowers a little bit here. All right, for one thing, I've got some Sweet Williams here. They are biennials, they are right down here. Should you have them as plants in the wintertime? Well, you can, sure. Because even though they need a cooling off period, I certainly can start these biennials. In other words, they have to drop their seed and come back to life with, you know, from a brand new plant, and they do survive outside. They do very well outside, as a matter of fact. I've got several groups of Sweet Williams, or Dicentra, some people say. And you can, yeah, you can do that. Now, another thing that I do have, believe it or not, is besides a broken tomato plant, is I have some tulip bulbs that actually stuck into this particular hanging plant right here. And I can hang this up if I want. I can even put this geranium in there. As a matter of fact, I might put this geranium in so that it's not in a pot by itself. I might just take this geranium and head it off to an angle like this. Here, let's get the camera over this way. So that it leans over the side, and when the flowers come out, they'll just go down like that. I may do that. I don't know. I can do all kinds of stuff with these particular plants. And now, why did I bring portulaca or flower of Peru, tomato and a pepper? I don't know. I just picked them out. Sweet Williams and a geranium. Why did I bring that? Well, because I just want to talk about some different flowers. As you can see, folks, some of these flowers, these little tiny flowers, they absolutely look like paper mache flowers. Let me point out one here. Here's an orange one right here. Okay, see if we can get a good shot of that. They grow in many, many different colors. There's a white one down here. Okay, folks, when you bring these in from the inside, though, too, you got to check for bugs. Make sure that nothing's crawling, hopping, skipping, jumping. Here's a kind of a, almost a neon pink over this way here. And then, of course, we've got bright red ones and orange ones in here. Here's a yellow one right here. By a yellow ribbon round the old flower of Peru. I'm getting kind of silly here. I don't have that much time left. If you want to stick one of your pepper plants in underneath the lights, and you want to make sure some of your tomato plants keep growing, fine. They'll get a little stringy. You can do it. You got to have those lights awfully close. As a matter of fact, my father used to do it. He used to do it all the time. Okay, he used to make sure that he grew cucumbers, great big huge vines. They were 6 feet long in his greenhouse over in Illinois. He used to do that almost every winter, and they would pick cucumbers. Now they can, if you don't have the lights quite right, okay, and if it gets a little cold in there and you're not watching the watering, yeah, they'll get kind of stringy. They may not produce as much, or you got a bug infestation. I actually bring my sprayers in from the outside. I go through them, I clean them out, and then what I do is I just spray a little bit of insecticide inside the house, not much. Sometimes I will use just a hand sprayer to do that. If I've got a bad infestation from somewhere, by bringing these plants in from the outside, then yeah, I will use my sprayer on a limited basis, because you want to have good ventilation. You don't want it to smell. You don't want it to smell like bug spray in your house. That's not a good idea. And you also don't want to have any kind of violation where it might be, flammable. you gotta watch that too, okay? You gotta watch what you spray. Mostly the stuff I use in the winter time is insecticide that has been, I water it down even more. In the summertime it's stronger because the bugs are active. But if I use insecticide in the wintertime, I will take even half and water it down as much, okay? So that's one of the things that you can do. Well, folks, I am just about out of time. I'd like to thank Periwinkles County Market, Wausau Metro Area Rides, all 25 buses. I'd like to thank all the folks. Oh boy, do we get the postings on Facebook. Oh my gosh, you folks really like us on Facebook. We have almost 800 likes on there already. And we didn't start this that long ago, because I didn't really know how to do this stuff. But our favorite cameraman decided he was going to do it for us, so he's doing a great job. As a matter of fact, folks, like us on Facebook, find FFF or Fraser Family Foundation. You don't even have to spell it right. Just remember FFF, Fraser Family Foundation. You can even go on Twitter, find us there. I have all kinds of postings on there. And we will be posting our television awards that we have won over the years. And some of the concerts and things that we have put on over the years. Well, I'd like to thank not only McDonald's, Burger King, Buffalo Wild Wings, to name just a few. But there's Wausau Spring and Alignment. For all of the things that they have put up posters for us, they've worked with us over and over again. Periwinkles Tea and Coffee has been just great, as well as our regular sponsors. And we dearly love working with County Market too, as a matter of fact. We've worked with them over and over and over again. And Wausau Area Metro Ride, they are telling us they want us to put new posters in their buses. Well, that takes a lot of time, so we're working on it. But at any rate, folks, I'm Master Gardener Bernie DeLaNay, and I tell you what, folks, we're going to get the bird sound call in here. Just simply because I want to hear it. That's a little birdie. Bye-bye.